All right, this podcast is for CNT140. This is on our BidSpec project and the last one, pulling our project together for submission, or project assembly, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. Up to this point, we should have done all these different pieces of our plan, the last couple being our cable certification costs on our spreadsheet, our project timeline, our Gantt chart, if you will, and then our Word document where we did the couple paragraph description of the different areas of our plan that were not easily, shown in spreadsheets or maps, if you will. The media, cable certification, those descriptions that we did in a Word doc. So now that we have all the pieces, we're now going to focus on making sure we do have all the pieces and all the files formatted that we can get them submitted. Making sure we have all the pieces and all the formatting done for submitting our project. Now, a couple general notes here real quickly. This document is really, this notes page is really just trying to make sure you have everything organized and ready for submission. All these files are going to be submitted to the Dropbox on D2L. There's a BidSpec Dropbox here on D2L, so it's all going to be digital. There's no printing or binding or anything weird like that. It is a multi-file submission. That's okay. Not a worry about that. A couple files is fine. So a couple general notes and a couple reminders before we dig into those pieces that we need to submit. This project assembly notes is the guide to make sure you have all the pieces. Awesome. I am going to remind you, pull out your BidSpec overview page where you had the rubric. If you dig up your BidSpec project overview, this is where it describes the different parts of our plan. Here's the BidSpec submission 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of thing. And if I keep scrolling down here, this is the writing tips. On the last page, here's a copy of the rubric from D2L. I'll show you on D2L where it is. I'm pointing this out because this is how your project's getting graded. So use this as you're doing the final assembly here of your documents. Use this as kind of a checklist. Do I have it? Check. 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 And just go down through your Word document. Go down through your spreadsheet. Make sure you have your cable plan maps. Make sure you have your timeline. Make sure you have your equipment rack drawing. Make sure you have your load table. And just kind of check everything off. That's why it's here. I copied it from D2L onto this document. And it's also, if you go to D2L, if you click the rubrics page, sorry, yours looks a little bit different. When you click the rubrics page, it'll bring this grade sheet up for you that you can scroll through and look at it here. This is where I got it. I copied it from here and pasted it into that BidSpec overview page, if you will. So use this and make sure you have all the pieces of your plan. Okay. One or two other tidbits. If you didn't do it already, make sure you have included labor costs on your spreadsheet. I don't think we explicitly said this anywhere, so I'm just kind of making sure as a reminder you have it. Let me go to my spreadsheet real quick. I'll go to my Google Drive 140. Here's my spreadsheet. On the bottom of the cost page, this is what I did. So there's my cable estimation tab. Here's my cost sheet tab down here. All right, you come on, load your tab. There we go. Down at the bottom under all the equipment, here's what I did. Down here at the bottom, I said my equipment total, my equipment cost is, $54,000. Right below it, labor cost is going to be the same amount. If you think of when you have your car repaired, you might have $100 in parts in the car, and there's probably about $100 in labor. Sometimes it's $200 in labor, and then the total cost is $200 or $300 for the repair bill. So we're doing the same kind of idea. If the equipment costs $54,000, the labor is going to cost the same amount, and then put a grand total below it where you total them up. And all I did is I did something very generic here. Here was my sum total for this whole column. Right below it, I did let me clear my formulas here real quick. Right here in the labor costs, I did equal, and I just clicked the cell above it and hit enter. That way, whatever's in this cell gets copied here, and then below it, I'm going to say equal, and I'm going to click this top cell plus the next cell and enter, and just add those two together. That way, anytime these values change, it's retotaling it down here for me. So do your labor costs and do your grand total for your project. Make sure all along you've had your resources on your spreadsheet. Make sure they're there. Make sure you do the spelling and grammar check kind of thing. If you see a squiggly under it, go check it. And make sure any writing you're doing is third person. Okay, so there's a couple general reminders for anything on your project just to make sure you have, kind of things organized and ready. All right, let's talk. Oops, come on. Scroll to the next page. Come on. Let's talk getting our 6 major pieces ready for submission. First thing, your Word document. These are your project descriptions. Go to your Word doc and make sure it's submitted as a Microsoft Word, Google Doc, PDF kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Google Drive here, open up my project descriptions. Here's my project descriptions. Make sure it's good. Okay, it looks good. When I'm done, do a file and download as. And you can download it as a Word doc or PDF. Either one would be fine. Do a download on that. It's going to drop it right in my downloads folder. You'll see it up here, download, bing, it's in my downloads folder. Now I have that for submission on D2L. Okay, so there would be my Word doc, or my project descriptions, if you will. Make sure they're all there and download it. Go to your spreadsheet, do the same kind of thing. Make sure everything's there. Once it is, okay, I'm going to open up my spreadsheet. Once everything's there, you're going to do the same kind of thing. Go up here and do a file, download as, and probably the easiest thing to do would be download as the Excel, Microsoft Excel. You can do PDF if you want. Probably Microsoft Excel is the easiest. That way I can open it up and click through tabs and all that kind of good thing. And reminder, make sure any tabs you do have those labeled. That way we know what the heck is on them as we're looking at them. So download that guy. He's good now. All right. So next one we're looking at is your cable plan maps. Now you might have one or two of these. I managed to cram all mine on one. But open your maps again. So let me find my cable plan maps. Here we are. Here's my map. Here's my Google Draw, if you will. Load that guy up. Make sure he's good. Make sure you have everything on there. And probably the easiest thing under this one is download as a PDF. You can do a JPEG or anything, but this one actually works pretty well if you do a PDF. Download this guy. So now I have that one in my downloads folder. So I have my first couple. I have my Word document, my Excel, and my cable plan maps. Your project plan implementation timeline. This is your Gantt chart. Again, if you used the charter Gantt charter thing, the Gantter, excuse me, that's what it was. The Gantter app connected to Google Docs. Open this guy up again, double check, make sure it looks okay. Make sure you have your title. This one you can do a project. You can export it as, there should be an option here to print as a PNG or print as a PDF. Either one's fine. I did PDF on mine. It made a nice little file to kind of download and deal with. I will show you this, so just don't panic if you do this. If you download it as a PDF, here's my Gantt chart in a PDF. It does split it across 2 pages or 3 pages. Don't panic about that. It doesn't really matter to me. The main thing I'm really looking at is this first page on your tasks anyway, if you remember when we talked about it. It puts the dates out here. That's fine. I'll look at them. I'll scroll through. But that makes a nice little file to kind of download and submit. So there's your timeline, okay, from your Gantter application on Google Drive. So there's my cable plan map and my timeline. The next piece is my equipment rack drawings. So over here you had your, let me scroll up, where is my, there he is, actually there is CNT140 BidSpec rack drawing. So I'll open up the Google Draw. Actually, this was the Draw.io, my Draw.io application. Once I'm here, make sure it's all good, make sure I have things labeled, make sure I have my little key over here, whatever I'm doing. When I'm done on this guy, do a file, export as, and this one I just did another PDF as well, just for ease of dealing with files. Export, I'll just download this into my download folder. Again, it makes a nice little PDF for submitting. This one did take a couple seconds to do, but there he goes, he's downloaded. All right. And the last thing is my Cablefill load table. If you remember when we did our cable trays, we used the Cablefill spreadsheet to figure out what size trays were adequate for our building. When I was doing it, I just did a little screenshot of it, and I saved it here onto my Google Drive just so I had it. I just grabbed a little screenshot of that guy. So what I'll do on this one is just download this. I'll download this guy. If I highlight him, actually if I right click him, there's an option to download. I'll download this guy so I have him for submission too. There's a little save on that guy. So now I have all my pieces. If I look at my downloads folder, here's all my pieces. I would take all these files and drop them in the Dropbox on D2L, and I'm good to go. I don't need to do anything fancy with them. I don't need to format them any other way, or cover pages, or table of contents, or page numbers, any of that nonsense. I'm just going to go through those 6 files and make sure you have all the pieces, and grade it with the rubric attached there on D2L. So there's are my pieces. There's kind of getting them ready for submission, and getting them ready to put them in the Dropbox on D2L. Just a quick reminder, when you are ready, then go to the Dropbox here on D2L, open it up. There'll be a spot there for you to upload the files. So click the upload. You'll actually locate them on your drive. Locate all those files, plop them in there, and submit them. And watch the deadline. I'll be reminding you that it ends at the May 3rd end of class. If you are actually the end of our class. Let me try that again. Our due date will be May 3rd at 1 o'clock, the last possible day. Watch the Dropbox will close on that day. So there is our project assembly, getting all of our files together for submission. It's those 6 pieces we're worried about. If you have more than one cable map, don't panic. I know it'll be a 7 or 8 file. That's not a problem. But those are the 6 main pieces we're worried about. So there is your last podcast for the BidSpec, our project assembly and submission for the BidSpec.